Hello, friends and kindred hearts. Welcome back to Sage Thyme. We've got a reading here today for the sign of Aries. Whether you are a sun sign Aries, just seeing an eagle flying overhead, whether you are the sun sign of Aries or you have any other planets or points, of course, where Aries resides in your chart, your natal chart by house. These are all things that are going to give you really important distinctions as to how each particular reading that I do has an expression for you specifically in your life. Of course, if you are not into astrology and that's not the route you take to learn and listen through things, always this reading is simply about allowing it to enter from a place of love and seeing how it resonates with you, what wants to unfold and reveal itself to you. So let's get started. All right, I am using a new deck called Forest Meditations. It's not technically a tarot or an oracle deck. And yet when I saw the images, I knew it had to come into my expression, my creative expression in this. So I've got the spread already pulled for that, and then we'll draw an overall card from the Spirit of the Animal deck by Jody, Bergsma. Nope, that wasn't it, correct. So we can kind of reference to how the energetics, the patterning, the signatures of a particular spirit animal, how it resonates with you, or it doesn't even, and how you can look at it to see a new angle on anything that I have to say. Okay, they both want to be in this. Two cards flew out. One is Lynx, the Keeper of Secrets. I love that. This cat and his expression, or her expression, reminds me of my kitty. Oh, that's so perfect. And Dolphin, Play. I'll read the two. Dolphin says, swim in the happy joy of living. Inhale confidence. Exhale fear. So do that again. Let's just take a moment and inhale confidence. Let any feelings of fear come up and exhale it out. Dive into your wisdom now. Go with the flow. That is beautiful as an overall. And then your other overall, Lynx, Keeper of Secrets. Take time out from the world and be the observer. Nothing can deceive you when you trust your knowing. You see others' secrets and you keep them sacred. In silence and solitude, you will find your strength. Wow. I kind of super love that right now. That's a funny thing for me to say. All right. So inhaling that confidence, allowing those fears to come up and exhale it, letting play be something of coming from a place of flow and wisdom. Peace flow, right? Peacefulness and flow with the grace of spirit. And then observing others, being in the world and not of it. So without attachment, watching how people play the different characters of their roles, how that affects them in all the ways, and being able to do that as a non-participant observer without attachment to if it's good or bad, or not letting it, or not letting, recognizing if you have emotional sensations pop up, recognizing that that's occurring, and see where there's an attachment to defining or labeling or describing a person or their behavior or actions or so forth. Let that all come up. The role that they're playing, the feelings and your labels and judgments perhaps of it, and then you seeing even yourself in that, and even stepping back from both you and maybe the other, and saying, what role have I been playing in allowing and participating in those feelings within me? Whether it's true or not, is it effective? Is there another way I can be and feel and interplay that's more productive both for myself and the other person? That's what seeing another person's secrets, seeing behind their masks, seeing what's obvious to you and not to them, and seeing those secrets of another person and keeping them sacred. Recognizing that there is incredible reverence in seeing everything through the lens of the beauty way. And there's so much sacredness when we allow ourselves to love all of the demonstrations and learn from them. And then we realize that their behaviors, even if seemingly completely unacceptable or hurtful, actually have such an important role to play for those that are on maybe another side of a polarity to that, and those that are participating in it. Seeing what your learning opportunity was and or is, oftentimes they'll come back and we'll have a new, stronger, more evolved learning opportunity, tension point. So being a part of the observation so that you can go back into the role with a new wisdom and insight within you that will alter the chemistry between you and the other. Even if they're not somebody in your life, even if you're viewing them on the news or something like that, or driving by in a car with, some anger stuff going on. Allowing that experience to occur and allowing your internal responses to be your responsibility to alchemize. And the more you do that, the more intuitive and even instinctual it becomes. And you'll start seeing how people around you will shift when they're in your energetic bubble. You won't see things like road rage in your energetic bubble anymore, because you're alchemizing a sphere of energy around you. And the more you do that, the stronger that sphere can become and the bigger it can reach. The bigger it can reach. It was like two thoughts there. The more it can expand and reach more people. Okay, so for the forest meditation cards, the first card that came out, one second here, little cup. My little digger cup. The first card that came out is sensations. We've got this young man in the middle of the flora of the natural world, and he's covered in all these beautiful branches and leaves, but they're imprinting on him. And the more they get stuck to him, the more he's absorbing them. And there are some aspects of that that are very uncomfortable and overwhelming, I'm hearing. He's sensitive. And he's a young adult is what's showing up for this card for me. So he or she, this gender isn't a thing here. His onset of sensitivity came somewhere in the pre-adult, early adult, late teen area. And it was overwhelming. And I'm hearing he went through the whole and is maybe still going through the whole. I'm not understood. I'm feeling all this stuff. It's sticking to me from other types of plants, other types of people, other types of emotions that aren't familiar to him. And I'm feeling that it's a lot of work for this one. I feel like this is someone in your life, or it's you and you've already gone through a great bit of this process. what it did, what it brought him to was, after a while of struggling with the overwhelm and it really taking over his life, he started to recognize that all these patterns and emotions and thoughts and feelings that he was feeling, these imprints of other people, weren't his. And so with that awareness that the thoughts and feelings and filters even that he was seeing the world and others with weren't his own, they were other people's, then he was able to really open up to having a new perspective on all the different emotional perspectives and how each person is even in the same circumstance and they're having entirely different experiences. And I get that here from the next card, An Ant's Life. You know, we've got these little guys down here the size of an ant. And maybe us humans see them as just these annoying ant creatures that are all over the place, but they have an entire world that they experience. A world that we think we can understand because we can see it from our purview, but the size, the layer, the dimension, everything about it is completely different, and not necessarily more advanced or less advanced. It's simply entirely different. A strawberry is the size of their head or bigger. The effect of the moths up above them, that psychic connection, is brilliant and huge and has far more detail to them and influence. Maybe it has a little bit of a threat, you know, so their perspectives are so different. And so that is the opportunity, the discovery that comes with, and as this individual is getting used to empathically experiencing the world and the collective and individuals within it. And so this next card, the Scent of Earth, I've got two messages coming in from that. The first one that came out loud and proud was, get in there and get dirty. Don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to get dirty and look weird or not perfect, or what other people or society expects you to. Dig in, get dirty. And then I saw the Scent of the Earth, which brought up the 5 rote senses and the clairs of those senses. And so I have a feeling that for this particular situation, not only the scent as in the olfactory, so that there's an ability to feel and smell and connect with other places and people by being trigger scented. And I'm hearing that for you, whether you are the initial card or not, you have a strong sense of smell. And that sense of smell has its own psychic, transcending time and space ability. And you can pick up a scent from somewhere 2,000 miles away that you've been to, and you'll be transported there in your own location. And you'll be connecting with somebody maybe that you know that's visiting there, and you didn't know that. And later on you'll find out, oh yeah, we were in Texas. And you're like, oh, that's why it smelled like Texas. That's why I was feeling and having these thoughts and having these feelings. And so I'm really hearing that olfactory as well as tactile. I think it's called nocioreceptivity or psychic nocioreceptivity. I don't know. Noci being touch. I don't know the word for it. You can look that up though. So those are two things that are coming through that either have been shining a light for you to, they're already an inherent talent, or they're knocking on your door. It's time for you to learn these a bit better and the details and nuance of them. Now, okay, so this next card, building. It kind of goes back to the beginning again with the feeling that sense of overwhelm and then getting the recognition, oh, these are different perspectives of different people. And what often inherently will come next is that empathy goes into compassion. So you're starting to feel your own personal compassion because you're empathing. That really is different than empathy, but you are empathing another person's experiences, thoughts, feelings, and experiences. And so there becomes with that this inherent human desire to ease the suffering of others, to create safe spaces, homes where they're nourished and safe and kept comfortable and healthy. And so that sensation may be getting incredibly strong for you right now. And I'm also hearing, and has been for a long time, and this is where the message keeps wanting to have almost two different placeholders in the timeline of this experience. And so I think maybe what's going on is you as the viewer or somebody who has experienced much of this, and you have already gone through the overwhelm and developing your clairs and senses. Of course, we're always cycling through to points in time where we get to increase our skills in any given of our gifts and talents. And I think that you're in a place where you've already also had that incredible and powerful, really compelling feeling of, my dog is rolling around on the carpet. So if you hear little snorts and snarfles, he's having a good old time. He's reminding us, I was getting lost in the thought, he's reminding us to play and find wisdom in the play, and let the wisdom be playful. Let the development of self and confidence and the release of pain and fear, let those processes start to be playful. And for those of you who did this already and found that the underlying ideals of unity and as is, loving unconditionally, these came out in reverse. And I think that there was a real stumbling hill, intended as it was still a bit of a setback intentionally in its design, so that there was a feeling of that disillusionment, what that comes with, I was in service and I wanted to be and everything, and what I wanted to help foster and develop unity and unconditional love, and what I found was a lot of that, a lot of the opposite, and that was being reflected back at you. And then people were saying, what you're experiencing is a reflection of yourself, I'm hearing, and that is not true. Not always, for sure. There are stepping stones and stages within every cycle that becomes apparent and true. But all the rules and none of the rules are that way consistently all the time. The rules change, new rules come, then they change back again. You just got to know what rules are applying to you right now. So when this did happen, and it became really almost impossible to accept other people and situations as it was, and there was this just a bit of a dismal, and what's the point? The idea of unity felt oppressed and just buried deep, and also not what it's all hyped up to be, right? You found that there were some real challenges to unity consciousness. That's this highly sensitive empath. If we're in this together, that means we're in it together. So if the ship starts to sink in one part of it, the whole ship's going to go down, which means those that have done the work already and developed themselves and gone through all the trials and tribulations already and stepped up into higher elevation, so to speak, or more intricate and articulated developments, that means those ones have to go down and go and descend deep again and be amongst populations that we don't relate to, maybe at all, or we're just tired of it, or whatever the reasons are. And it gets dirty and it gets messy and we forget to play and we forget what's sacred. In silence and solitude, you will find your strength. So, you know, because we cycle back around and we do the work in my throat. And we connect with others and do the dance together, intermingling quantum resonance, sharing our developments and progress in a way that activates them so that they can do it on their own, helping and supporting them up the steps that are too hard for them and they really aren't making it. And doing it from a place without resentment or judgment, being that observer, the keeper of sacred secrets. No judgment. Doing it because to aspire towards a love, a heart of unity, that means we've got to face things that are very not unity-esque and love them. And love them. And when we falter, love ourselves and recognize we faltered and we've got some growing to do in that area, and love ourselves and bring ourselves back up, and then we go back to loving them again. That is the beauty way, my friends. Seeing this in nature, in people, in the world, in ourselves, and going, wow, look at the contrast of different colors and the layers and what's in the foreground and the symbolism of this. How does that resonate right now? What is a message that's coming through to me right now? And then feeling and all of that, and all of a sudden we're no longer caught up in, oh, that rotten apple, I can't even eat it, and there's holes in that poor moth. Is, oh my God, look how strong that moth is. And yeah, maybe it's about to go through another downward turn of the cycle before going back up again. Thank you for being in this world and your contributions, moth. And just feeling that immense gratitude and adoration. That's the wisdom and the wonderment. Looking at it without any thoughts or ideas of what it's all about, and simply having that sense of wonder. I wonder. And you don't need the answer to that question or inquiry. I wonder, and simply wonder. As is. Yeah. And that's when being in the practice of the practice, in that way of playful joy, a playful joy that's occurring even when there's fear or stress or strain, feeling the undertow of the wave and finding a way to make it fun, even if it doesn't work out, even if you end up on a coral reef bouncing around and that's the end of it. You know what? You had fun all the way there, all the way through it. You found a way, not in that sublimation way, because you know what's happening and you know what's what, and you're present to it. You're able to contain and reverberate with fear, anger, pain, grief. And you can simultaneously be in that space of reverence and sacred beauty and joy. That's where your alchemy is, right? And many of you know this already, but maybe get caught up in the tidal waves and the currents of the collective emotions, and you might be forgetting what it's like for the little guys who are just starting out. What it's like to not know yet or be in the beginning of the discovery. And so now you can separate from both yourself and your perspective of another from your own self. And you can look at, oh, this is me growing and being able to be on the other side of that hill, and feeling at the same time what it's like to be that person, and feeling what it's like to not want to be that person again. Oh, I see why I was judging. It's because I don't want to be that person that I used to be in some form. Because by this time you've recognized everything out there somehow had its own expression within you. Whether you expressed it outwardly at others or you turned that inwardly on yourself. You know what I mean there. So now that you're at that place, it's time to start getting crafty. Like for reals, get creative in your play. Start creating new color schemes. You're combining a little forest green with some robin eggs blue, and you're seeing what colors occur when they swirl all the way together, or when they're even separate but together, and the layers that it offers. And you're doing it in a way, I love this card. I don't even know the words. I feel like so much is coming out in this sweet little beautiful card. Creating a physical, tangible, I'm hearing journey book, but it doesn't need to be a journey book like this. Of course, it could be clay sculptures or drawings or words. But you can do this and create little doodles and sketches and words. You can journal mostly and have a feather or a ginkgo leaf. You can tell the story of that fern plant and the ginkgo leaf as they told it to you on your adventure. This is a way of taking your experiences and your reflections in combination with channeled energy from your higher aspects and theirs, and creating something that will have meaning now and provide you new and more developed layered meaning in the future. Yeah, I like that. And then the last card, how perfect, home of the senses. I love how it bookends our first card. I mean, really. You started out, and somebody else is right now starting out, just touched by everything and overwhelmed, probably not even knowing what's going on, so they're just a raw nerve having to react without anybody who knows and understands and has experienced it. Nobody like that has come up to them yet and said, I know what you're going through, and I know you're a train wreck. I'm going to tell you something. You don't have to believe it yet, but I'm just going to let you hear it. And that's you, the person who has already found their home within tidal waves and fire hose downloads and empathic sensory connections. She is in the forest being touched by even more types of flora and fauna, and she's just loving it. Not creating herself, but letting herself create from the glow of the love that she's inhabiting, that she is becoming the home. And so everything else is finding home with her. I got a little quiver in my voice when I said that. There is something so gratifying in that for you. I'm really happy for you. All right, my friends, Aries, thank you so much. Was there anything else that wanted to come through? Let's do one more card. I am going to pull from this other deck. All right. This is the, what was it? The Green Witch's Oracle deck. So let's have one more little nugget of encouragement, wisdom, insight for us to take with ourselves in our journey back out into the people in world after such a holiday. Wow, this is a new card for me to see. Earth. And at the top there's what I'm presuming is a dove flying to the heavens. The earth being this gorgeous, beautiful landscape being viewed through that inner vision that then is witnessing it from a simple, small representation of the ecosystem. Serene and wondrous and awe-inspiring. That's what you are creating, is representations. Again, whether you're crafting with clay or building fairy homes out of found driftwood, you are creating little mini representations of the wonder and awe, the sacred reverence and respect, and the beauty that you have alchemized and created after coming through this to become this, and then to come back over and help those that are back in this, because you remember, and it matters. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So much love to you. Be kind and gentle to yourself, and let it be known for all those around you, that kindness, that gentleness. Blessings.